and I'm here at the Oxford Conference Center, the first annual Women's Summit, and I'm also joined with our first interview of the day and our state's own Attorney General Lynn Fitch. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, Mandy. Great to be with you today.
Yeah, we're so glad you're here, and we're so excited about this event. So let's just kick things off and hear why did you establish this event, and what was the idea behind it?
Well, I'm so excited. You know, it's finally here. We've been had a vision to do this, to bring women together. I think it's important for women to be together, empower each other, be inspirational to one another, be uplifting, and women very rarely do that. So bringing us all together to talk about different journeys in life, how we can be supportive of one another, what can we all do and rally together that continues to make our communities and our state, you know, the best for the future. And so we have an exciting day. Today was picked, today's August the 19th, in kind of honoring the right for women to vote, the 19th Amendment. And so it was adopted in 1920. Okay. So we wanted to be sure that we recognize that. So it was kind of a special significance because in Mississippi, the right to vote was not passed by our state legislature until 1984.
Oh, wow.
Think about that.
Interesting.
So we've been a little slow to bring women together and talk about issues that are important to us, to our families. And so when you think about we were the last state in the country to ratify the 19th Amendment.
Yeah.
And that's so significant. You know, no one thinks about that.
Yeah.
But here we didn't pass it until 1984.
Wow, that's really interesting. And women have so much to offer. We love our men, but women are naturally a lot of community leaders. You know, they go to the schools, they help with the PTAs or the PTOs. You know, they're organizing local community events, and that has relevance at a local level, but also at our state level. So it's just really wonderful to have an event like this. I could tell walking in, I was like, a lot of thought has really been put into this. And I'll say this to our listeners who are out there: if you're in the Oxford area, please stop on by. Registration starts again at 7:30 a.m. and there's an amazing lineup of people who are going to be speaking. Could you talk a little bit about the folks that you've invited to come in and speak to the wonderful group of women that you have invited up here in Oxford?
Oh, absolutely. So when we first started, we wanted all women to be involved because we thought that, again, is key. Because, again, as you share your journeys with one another, you talk about how you can help each other, you take away, it's great learning experiences, and it's always about, again, relationships, trust factor. So, you know, the goal is you hope everyone meets one another throughout the day, through the evening. You broaden your circle of influence. You have new friends. You have people across the state. Now you can stay in contact with. You may need something. You may just want to continue to broaden that friendship circle. So the hope is that the networking continues. So when I reached out through the team, and I have an amazing team, let me just say.
Do. I love your team. Whether it's the legal team or the events team, they're fantastic.
Thank you. They are the best. They are just incredible. And so, like you said, you come into this venue and it just automatically, you feel the synergy vibe. You know, once we get everybody in here, it's just going to be a continued excitement to bring everybody together. So when we started talking and planning with the office, you know, reaching out to having all women involved, women vendors, people were so gracious, and we have amazing women in our state. And so, again, to showcase all the different things that we do that are led and driven by women. As you just said, women are in the communities. We're involved in so many things in our churches, in our schools. We have a great perception on how we can bring ideas and thoughts together. And so this allows us to do that and kind of kick that off for the first time, and hopefully we'll make this annual so we can continue to get women together. So when we started thinking about speakers, it was almost hard to narrow down because there's just so many amazing women here in the state. And then we've got featured speakers as well that are coming in. So our featured speakers, Paula Scanlon, she's an amazing young woman who swam on the team with the University of Pennsylvania, Leah Thomas, and it was a very challenging, and she, you know, has just been such an advocate and a voice for protecting women in sports and again in the locker rooms and safe spaces. So
yeah,
we're excited about Paula certainly being here. Then we have our own wonderful, outstanding Sarah Thomas.
Yeah.
She's a great friend, but what an amazing trailblazer she is.
She's made great waves.
What do you think about here? She is the first female NFL ref. Wow, what a real trailblazer to do that, to be able to stand up for women, to really, forge that pathway. So we're excited to have her to talk about, what she did, how her journey went as well, and how she continues to be that great role model for women in that sports arena out there on that football field. First female to also, ref a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Wow. It's an amazing feat and a ton of pressure for any of the refs that are out there, especially for her.
So hearing from her will be amazing, again, being our own Mississippi champion for all of us. This evening we'll have Rachel Campos Duffy speak. She is Fox and Friends the weekend, the morning show. Again, an amazing person. I have enjoyed getting to know her over time and to be on her show and so forth. And so she is excited about being in Mississippi with us.
Yeah.
And a great journey for her. How did she start? What did she do? How did she balance her family and be on the TV and, headline these shows? And so it's exciting to have all these women. And then on top of that, the panelists all day long. We have incredible, amazing women who can share about their passion. How did they get into this area? What did they do to continue to build women up in these respective areas?
Yeah, it's amazing because it really spans so many different ideas, so many different industries, businesses. If you are a crafter or you have a specialized service, there's a place for you here. If you're interested in learning about culinary arts or public service, there's a place for you here, and on and on and on. And we've got great champions from Mississippi. Some of them we'll be talking to on the show a little bit later on, but certainly a lot that will be featured throughout the day. So even if someone could stop by for maybe one panel discussion or one of the featured speakers events, I would, again, highly encourage our listeners or any of the women that the listeners may know to stop on by here at the Oxford Conference Center. Now, we're gathering here, the Women's Summit, bringing together networking. I think that's so important. It really is, because we can all get in our respective bubbles. There's an Oxford bubble, and there's a South Panola bubble and a Decatur bubble and all these sorts of things. But it's good to bring women together to support one another. But you're also working from your perch as the Attorney General to protect women's interest before the courts. And we just had a pretty big decision in the Title IX space. We've only got about 3 minutes left, but we'll come back after the next segment if we don't get to talk through all of it. But just tee it up a little bit. What exactly is going on with Title IX, and then what is Mississippi doing to protect women's interests in this space?
Well, Title IX has been extremely important in the Attorney General's office, and we've been excited to lead every way we can to protect women, to protect spaces that our women, our girls are in. And so years ago, about the legislature passed the Fairness Act, which said boys are not allowed to participate in girls' sport. That was the first launch off. That was amazing. Yeah. And then this year they basically passed the Women's Bill of Rights, which identified, biologically, here's the definition of a woman. Here's the definition of a man. I never thought in 2024.
That for some people in this country, they don't know.
But it was significant for us as we moved into the different court cases. Yeah. As we were challenged and we have stood up. We've had a couple of cases already. One we worked with the Louisiana Attorney General, and Liz Merle and I filed on behalf of women in Mississippi and in Louisiana. And then we had 2 other states. Now we've had a number of states. And then that one, they were going to stop all the federal dollars coming into our schools in every state if we did not allow that. And so
men to play in women's sports.
And men to be in your safe spaces and
locker rooms and showers.
So we won on that one, and so the law has been blocked, stayed. It was not going to affect August the 1st. So that was a significant win, and it was exciting for Mississippi and Louisiana to lead the charge.
Yeah, really, because it is so important especially these safe spaces. I know you work a lot with a group called the Independent Women's Network and Voice, and that's Paula Scanlon is a part of that group, but they've been doing a lot of work federally. But it's important to build allies across various states as we push back against these bad federal ideas that really is coming from the Biden administration that has been trying to push leftist policies even into states where we know a boy is a boy and a girl is girl, and men's sports and women's sports were separated for a reason. And you've shown really great leadership on this because it's not just the policy discussion. There's also legal consequences and ways that you have tools you're effectively pushing back to protect our state's interests, but share that knowledge and expertise beyond. All right. We've got to take a really quick break. We've got you for the next segment for a few more minutes to talk about a few other really important wins, a lot of the great work from the Attorney General, not just here in Oxford at the Oxford Conference Center, the first annual Women's Summit that the Attorney General is hosting that kicks off again. Registration is at 7:30 a.m. We hope you will stop by, but we've got a lot more to discuss with the work that has been going on to protect the interests of women, but the interests of all Mississippians. So stay tuned. We've got more after the break. Mississippi. I'm Mandy Gunasekara, the guest host for the Paul Gallo Show this morning, and I'm here still with our Attorney General Lynn Fitch. Thank you for sticking around for one more short little segment, and we are here at the first annual Women's Summit at the Oxford Conference Center. So again, I'm going to keep saying this. You can come on by whenever. You can still register. That opens at 7:30, and we've got an amazing lineup. You're going to be kicking things off with the Girl Scouts and in the appropriate manner, and there's just an amazing lineup. Folks can also go online and check out. You can type in Attorney General Lynn Fitch Summit. If you type that into your query, everything you need to know will pop up. I know because I did it this morning. I want to talk about just a few other things that I know you're working on that I think are really important, and one of them is Our Voice Monthly, a newsletter that I've been getting. Could you just talk a little bit about that newsletter and what you hope to achieve with it?
Well, we're excited about having our voice out there because, again, it speaks to issues that are very significant to women, to children, the input, what's happening across our state, what's happening federally. That does affect us, particularly as women, and how we can be involved and invested in the future. So I would encourage people, please sign up for that because we enjoy the opportunity to share all the information. Information is very powerful, but only when you share it. So we felt like that was an opportunity to create our voice and have a very women-driven email to get the information across, to talk about things that are happening, things that are on the horizon, what we could all do together.
Yeah, well, and it's also important to have information from a reputable source, and that you can trust as well. That's equally important and harder to find these days. So it's good.
Thank you.
It's good that you're getting that out as well. Another thing that really you were already on the map in Mississippi, but really put you on the map federally was your take on Roe versus Wade with the Dobbs decision. I remember all that coming out. I happened to be in D.C. the day that was supposed to be announced. All sorts of protests and energy, positive and negative energy all around it and the way that happens around our Supreme Court. But you were there for that. Could you talk a little bit about that moment, what it meant for Mississippi, what it meant for you, and then a really special project, the Empowerment Project that came from that?
Well, it was an incredible case, certainly a God-driven case, and it's exciting to have Mississippi again being the champion, taking this case to the United States Supreme Court. But the input, the other states, the amicus briefs, it was just amazing. The right people at the right time at the right places. Scott Stewart being our Solicitor General, arguing the
amazing.
case.
Yeah,
he is. But everybody on the team, everybody that worked with us, all the partners, to get it to that moment, to get it ready. So we were excited. But as we looked at how we would proceed with this case, how would we write the brief, how would we prepare, our theme was empower women and promote life.
Yeah.
And, it had never been addressed from that perspective.
No.
It was only whatever that specific statute was, and we said, let's look at it from a holistic approach. Let's talk about how we could empower those women, how they could continue to have lives, and again, you could promote life at the same time. So that was our key theme all the way through from everything that we did.
Yeah. Well, and shifting that narrative, that was so important really, because the conversation around Roe versus Wade up until that point, really the left had defined it, and they defined it in a way that I would argue is very disingenuous, saying that it's about protecting women's rights. But as you've seen throughout the longevity of Roe versus Wade, it's actually ruined a lot of women in all sorts of devastating ways. And so shifting the narrative, some people may say, well, it's just words, but in the court of law and the court of public opinion, that really does matter. And so that was an important shift in focus. I think it brought together a lot of allies. And then bringing it back to Mississippi, there is a policy fallout from that. What is it that Mississippi's been doing to bring together resources to help women in the Dobbs world, the post-Roe versus Wade world, that may end up having children that they don't feel that they are equipped to help or handle?
Well, it was definitely a full program, a strategic plan on how we'd operate, as I said, empowering women and promoting life. And the argument at the core of it was, this belongs to the states. The states should all make the determination. You have policymakers that you elect to make the policies on behalf of everyone in each respective state. So at the real nexus of the argument was return it to the states, which is what just actually happened. And so now we, as you said, we're in this Dobbs era, this, very interesting new Dobbs era. And what will we do? We've made the argument. We've talked about empowering women. We've talked about promoting life. But that isn't where it ends. Yeah. This is the new chapter. Now we get to write the chapter. You know? In Mississippi, we're walking the walk. We've done just that with the Empowerment Project. We've worked with our adoption, our foster parents. Mama is a new program, Mississippi Assistance for Maternal Assistance, that we offer throughout the state. We've just done so many great things. We are now helping those women. We are empowering those women, helping those children. It made us look at a huge bandwidth of things that we could do, in everything from safe haven baby boxes to save lives like that. And it's in Mississippi. We've already got 3 up and going.
Well, it's amazing. It's amazing work. It's so important. Attorney General, thank you for being here today, for hosting the Women's Summit. I'm excited to see the speakers, to see you up there today. Thank you for the work you're doing from the purview of the Attorney General's office, protecting our interests as women and as citizens of this great state. For our listeners out there, stay tuned. We've got to take a quick break.